All right, thank you very much. Welcome to United Everything Football. It's the AMADINHO show, as you could see at Old Trafford. After some drubbing 80 minutes of football from Man United, finally, Amad Diallo stole the show and made it the AMADINHO show at Old Trafford. At some point, you could feel the GS. You could feel people within the stadium very uncomfortable. I was in a chat with Kwame and I was telling Kwame, so we are losing to Southampton. 6 points Southampton. And from nowhere, we turned the game on its head. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Today, we are joined by a special guest. He's known as Latif. If you are very popular on the X app, you know Latif. And if you follow Scanty Explores, they are always together. Latif, Scanty, and SL. These are the guys. You can check their YouTube out. They travel all over the country. I mean, bringing us exactly, taking us to places we normally do not go. So you can check them out on Scanty. So Latif, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thanks so much for inviting me. Yeah.
Great. Kwame, you're welcome.
Thank you. I have so much to say. Yeah? I'm
so much to say. Anyway, you know what to do. Remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell if this is your first time joining the podcast. And if you've been watching and you've not subscribed yet, please pause the video, hit the subscribe button. And not just that, please like the videos for us. It's very, very important. And that's a lot for us on the podcast. Let me make a quick turnaround. When I come back, I'll get to Latif and Kwame. We'll delve into the game. The boys have a lot to share about the game. I saw Latif's commentary on Twitter. He nearly cried. Like, you could see the guy was really frustrated. But before that, let's make a quick turnaround. When we come back, we'll delve into the games. All right, thank you very much. Welcome back from that quick turnaround. Let me get to the guy. I mean, I have a lot to say, but you know what? As it is always, let me get to my guest first. Let me speak to Latif. Latif, 90 minutes of football.
Yeah.
A quick turnaround from Amad Diallo from the 80th minute. Generally, what was your impression of the game?
I mean, we came into this game thinking that we're going to repeat that 9-0 that we did some couple of years back with Ole. We didn't expect the game to be this difficult. I was watching the game and I was like, what's wrong, man? Are we a man down? Or what's happening to us? Because when you look at the games against Liverpool and then Arsenal, you expect that in this game, first half, at least you should be up by 2 goals. Then maybe in the second half, maybe some 3 or 4 goals. Then we just killed them off. But we were struggling. And a lot of things, I started thinking about it and I saw that we usually struggle against these small teams.
Yeah.
And then I was expecting, after the first half, Amorim to change something because you saw what the Southampton team was trying to do. They were pressing very, very high.
Yeah.
When you look at the games against Newcastle, Bournemouth, they press us. All of them press us. They don't even sit back. Because when you go man to man for United, they can't break the press.
That's true.
For some reason, they can't break the press. When you go man to man, they can't break the press. And then I was watching the game. What's happening with Kobe Menu? We know that Ugarte is someone who is going to do the dirty work and all that. I don't expect Ugarte to progress the ball, but Kobe Menu is there to take the ball, turn around, scan, give a pass, or dribble 1 or 2 players and go. Yeah. But Kobe Menu looks heavy.
Yeah.
He's not mobile. He can't run.
Yeah.
But all in all, I was blaming Amorim before even Amad scored the hat-trick.
Yeah.
I was blaming Amorim that he should have changed something. After that first half, we saw that the second half when we came back, it was exactly the same way. And Euro was struggling. Against
Kamaldeen. Today, Kamaldeen took him to the cleaners.
Oh my God, man. He sent him back to France.
That's a good one.
Man. He sent him back to France. Man, he couldn't just handle Kamaldeen's pace. And we were lucky, very, very lucky not to concede the second goal to, kill us off the game. And I think all in all, it's a good win. But I'll let you guys come in. Amorim should do something about these small teams. He should find a way to let us. You know, when you are playing the 3-4-3 and you go in a big game,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it will suit you because you'll be very compact defensively.
Yeah.
But when you meet these small teams, they expect you to come to them, and meanwhile, you cannot be defensive against these teams.
Yeah.
So I saw that was the problem, and that was how we are struggling. And our wing backs, Mazraoui was not helping. I think the owners need to do something in this generation. They should just get us a left wing back, a left-footed left wing back,
Yeah.
so that we can. Because when you look at this formation, it all lies with the wing backs,
Yeah.
their strengths.
Yeah.
If this formation is going to work, your wing backs has to be very solid, very quick, goal scoring, defending. They have to be everything. But when you look at Mazraoui, he's not good going forward.
Yeah.
And I think he's played a lot of games also. So the defensive part of him is kind of a bit shaky.
Yeah.
Was kind of a bit shaky in this game. So yeah, that's what I noticed from this game.
Very interesting. I noted some of your remarks. I'm sure Kwame will touch on it. But interestingly, before the game, Ruben Amorim said something. He says that the last two games we were expected to lose or something, but we turned up. He's going to learn more about the team with this game. Because if you've watched the games that we've played en route to those two games, they were also games we were expected to win. And some way, somehow, at Old Trafford, we've lost to Forest, we've lost to Bournemouth, we've lost to Newcastle, we've lost to Wolves away. And these are the teams that you'd expect that ordinarily Man United will win against. But Kwame, prior to the game, we were discussing something very interesting where we talked about the nature of our team and that we concluded that we are a typical counter-attacking team. Nothing more than that. And it tells you that there is still some quality lacking in the kind of players that Amorim would want to use in attack. Because in the first half, our attack looked very, very flat. Your general thoughts on the game, Kwame?
And before I get into that, I have a question for Latif. I love all his submissions. He actually hits a lot of salient points. But I just have one question for him. Based off what you just said about Amorim pre-match, he said he will learn a lot about his team today. My simple question for you is, what do you think Amorim learned about this team today?
I think he has... For me, if I was Amorim, I would say that it's like the team, they are too scared. Firstly, when they go into a game that they are expected to win, and after a couple of minutes, things are not gelling for them, then everyone starts to be all over the place. And it's not supposed to be like that. You have to have patience. 10 minutes is not going well. Just keep the ball, try to build momentum. And you said that when we got the ball, we're just giving the ball away. There was a lot of turnovers for Southampton in our own half. Højlund, I don't even want to touch on Højlund.
I think there's a silent agreement that we are not talking about Højlund again.
Oh, okay. Then I think I have to join you guys. For me, I think the mentality of the team at home games is very, very poor. Very, very, very poor. Yes, I don't know if it's pressure, if they are scared. I don't know.
Kwame, over to you.
Okay. All right. So, the games before we were arguing as to whether it's just a pure issue of mentality or there is a genuine lack of quality in this team. And I've always made the argument that we lack quality. See, you can put in as much effort as you want into running and chasing back and doing all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, it's the quality that makes the difference. I say this squad, it has leveled up against the rest of the league. I've been telling you that if you are any team in the Premier League now, and you look at what Manchester United has in terms of firepower, you look at your own team and go like, but we have players who can actually match up to these players. There is no significant gap between most of our players and the players you find on other teams. I said that you could pick probably 15 teams in the Premier League whose forward line would probably match up to ours. The coach will look at our squad, look at his squad and go like, there is no way we should go there and be afraid of this Manchester United side. And this is why. Let's just take a very quick trip down memory lane. I was doing a bit of, reminiscing today. Because in the first half, I was so sad and so down, and I was like, how did we get here? How did we get to this group of players that we have currently? How did Manchester United downgrade to this standard? And I wouldn't go too far. Just 2020, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah.
We had a starting front three of Garnacho, not Garnacho, sorry. How could I even say that? Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
Rashford,
Anthony Martial, and then Martial, right? That was our front three.
Yeah.
COVID, that COVID season where they're banging in goals for fun.
Yeah.
I think Rashford scored about 20, Martial scored about 20, Greenwood scored about 18 goals or so. It was beautiful. They actually matched up to Liverpool's front three in terms of the number of goals that they have scored in the Premier League alone. In the Premier League, not even considering other competitions. And the following season, what did we do? We decided to add Cavani to it, right? And we pursued Jadon Sancho and we didn't get him. And we signed Amad to appease the supporters because we didn't get Jadon Sancho. Right? If you can remember. The next season, we go in and get Jadon Sancho and we even add Ronaldo. So now you have a plethora of attackers of Martial, Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Ronaldo, Cavani, and Jadon Sancho. Listen to these names I've mentioned. As at that time. Compare it to now. Just compare it to now.
I don't know if you remember, not to cut you, if you remember, when the game was going on, I kept asking you, where are we going to get the goals from?
That's the thing. And you see the considerable downgrade. And let me continue to make you emphasize more on the downgrade. The next year after that, we decided that Ronaldo, for some reason, wasn't good enough. Cavani also left because his contract was out.
Yeah.
We did not buy a replacement for Ronaldo immediately. Some way, somehow, Marcus Rashford was able to produce this miraculous season, his best season of his life, to be able to give us goals. But we did not replace Ronaldo. The next year, we replaced Ronaldo by signing Rasmus Højlund for £72 million. Anthony Martial leaves last season because I believe Anthony Martial should have left probably 3 years ago. I was patient enough for him to leave. And instead of sending an upgrade, we replaced him with Joshua Zexi. Sancho, that we went to buy Amad to appease us. Amad had to go and take this long route, go to Rangers, go to Sunderland, blah, blah, blah. Whilst we were hoping that finally the man that we were looking for would come good in Jadon Sancho. For 2 seasons, 3 seasons, he didn't do anything at Manchester United. And it's the same Amad that we bought to appease who has come to replace him in the squad. And it's now giving us something, right?
Yeah.
We promoted Garnacho into the first team. Garnacho competes in the same position as Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford is on the verge of leaving the football club. His direct replacement is actually Alejandro Garnacho. If you listen to all the names that I've mentioned who have left, have you forgot a big one? I forgot a big one. Mason Greenwood went to commit all sorts of atrocities and wasn't welcome at the football club anymore. And we spent £85 million to replace him with Anthony.
Big atrocity.
Yes. So now let's go back to the 5 players that I mentioned. And you answer the questions for me. Is Anthony an upgrade on Mason Greenwood?
Nope.
Is Garnacho an upgrade on Marcus Rashford?
Never.
Is Højlund an upgrade on Cristiano Ronaldo?
How dare you?
Is Zexi an upgrade on Anthony Martial?
Never.
No.
Do you know how much money we've spent on these players that I've mentioned?
Talk to me.
Over £200 million, almost £300 million on these players that I've mentioned. And the only one you can say has done something above the players who were there was the one that was the cheap replacement for Jadon Sancho. We bought Amad for £80 million. I mean, eventually to get to £36 million. But we bought Jadon Sancho for £72 million. And eventually he has been replaced by the one that we bought as a stopgap. I'm just trying to point to you the circus that has been our recruitment over the past 3-4 years. On top of all this mistake that we've made, we've now going to bring in a manager who coaches a system which is completely different from the profile of players that we've been buying over the years. He made note of what he thinks this team is and what he hopes to coach this team to become. We're a transition team.
Mm-hmm.
We are most effective in transition. We cannot sustain attacks in the final play.
Yeah.
Back to today. Now come to today's lineup and why we're struggling in the first half. What he wants to see is a team that can possess the ball in the opponent's half. What Southampton were doing in the first half is what he expects to see from Manchester United. Look, I'll just mention a couple of players at Southampton. The reason why our own Kamaldeen Suleiman, has been struggling is that they want to possess the ball at Southampton Football Club, but he is more of a very direct player.
Yeah.
So in similar fashion to Alejandro Garnacho, very direct player. So he's been struggling. He has to learn the system. They are playing even without a striker to allow him that room to be able to stay out wide and then cut in, because otherwise the whole place becomes crowded.
Mm-hmm.
Garnacho is in the same situation at Manchester United, where he is not a proper number 10. He cannot hold the ball up. He cannot play the ball inside. He cannot play in tight spaces. All he can do is run with the football. That is his strength. It means that he needs to stretch his legs to run.
Yeah.
This system needs players who can actually hold onto the ball in tight spaces, retain possession. That is how come Amad is thriving under Ruben Amorim, because he retains possession.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to stay on the football. He doesn't need to kick the ball and run. Dribble in tight spaces. Devlin is the other player I'm going to refer to at Southampton. Yeah. Very similar fashion to how Amad Diallo plays. Very similar. Close control, is able to play in tight spaces, retain the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. So the problem is we just lack the quality in those areas to be able to sustain the kind of football, the kind of pressures, the kind of possession that Amorim wants from his team. Bruno Fernandes has even had to, change his game a bit to be able to fit, because Bruno Fernandes, as we know, likes to play the ball forward quickly.
Hero ball expert.
Over the past couple of games, what he's done is fine-tune his game to try and suit the system.
Yeah.
But you need players to complement each other.
Yeah.
Garnacho doesn't complement what he does. Højlund doesn't complement at all what he does. The reason why we can't be the press, let me answer why we can't be the press. The system is actually simple. When Zexi came on in the second half, and I'm not a big fan of Zexi, but sometimes when the ball goes into the center forward, it's supposed to stick.
Yeah.
Do you know the kind of damage that Harry Kane would do in such a system? Because literally what happens is you draw the opposition team into your half. They are playing 1-for-1. The moment the center forward makes a stick and is able to find other players, Manchester United has a huge advantage. But Højlund doesn't win any ball. He doesn't win any ball.
He's fighting. He's still fighting.
Sleeping on the ground.
Sometimes the ball, even before the ball gets to him, he's looking for a defender and not thinking about the football. When your center forward fails you, the system fails. There were a couple of times that our goalkeeper, Onana, plays a very direct ball into him, accurate ball into him, and the ball just bounces back. And then the Southampton midfielders win it.
The second balls get to Southampton.
The second balls get to Southampton. The second balls are supposed to fall to Manchester United players, because the center forward is supposed to make that happen. And that's what you were seeing in the second half from Zexi.
Yeah.
The problem with Zexi is, like we've always said, very laid back in certain decisions that he's supposed to play. He's too relaxed as a footballer. Personally, he doesn't fit what Manchester United need. We need a little bit of ferocity, a little bit of conviction in the final third. But I would commend him for how he changed the game.
Yeah. He really changed the game. He really changed the game.
Even against Arsenal, he did very, very well.
Yeah.
And if you consider what he's been through over the past couple of weeks and how he's turned things around in a way, I'd give him some props for that. Some props. I'm not going to go all the way, because I felt there were still some decisions in the final third that looked comical. Honestly, looked comical. When you're supposed to pass, it didn't pass. When you're supposed to shoot, it didn't shoot. All that. At the end of the day, one thing that I would also want to talk about is, if Amorim learned anything today, one mistake I felt he made, let me just go that way. One mistake I felt he made was, in the second half, like Latif was saying, we're expecting drastic changes. But what he did was, he brought Anthony on to play inside. Funny enough, Anthony told us at the start of the season that he'll be scoring goals this season with his right foot. A ball was laid on the plate for him, and he couldn't tap the ball in with his right foot.
It was like he was clearing the ball. It was more of a clearance than a
It was then I said to myself, it's okay. You have done enough damage. You've done enough damage at this football club. But the mistake I felt he made was I thought Anthony would go and play as a wing back, and you play Amad more on the inside. That was just.
I also thought that, but I saw Anthony at the 10. I was saying, what's wrong?
And I thought, do you know what I thought? I said to myself, you know what? Maybe you change it after like 5 or 10 minutes. But I kept on going up until Amad scored the first goal before he switched it around. If you realize, he's just switched it around like, okay, the one with the good
get to wing back, let Amad push forward to the number 10.
I don't know what he's thinking. See, he's not selecting from a good bunch of players. He should have that in mind. If he thinks these players are good players, like great players, he's not selecting from a good bunch. There are just a few people who are very good players in this team, or who are players that we can go forward in the future.
Yeah.
Another point that Latif raised is that we've also been talking about from the very start of this transfer window is if they don't help this manager by giving him a couple of players in this window, it's going to be a struggle from now to the end of the season. Because see, there is not even a sign that we're replacing Marcus Rashford with somebody. There's even more dangerous news that we probably could let Alejandro Garnacho go. And you're saying to yourself, I feel like we're already short. If you're going to also let Garnacho go without any sign of a replacement, Rashford leaves any sign of a replacement, you're left with attackers, Amad, Anthony, Zexi, and Højlund. Where do you go in the season with such a forward line? So it's just going to be a pure struggle. So aside even a left wing back, which is an absolute necessity, we've been begging for it for months, right? We should at least bring in a forward. I don't care how they do it. I don't care. See, in the last episode, we spoke about how tight financially we are.
Yeah.
If they have to sell Garnacho to make it happen, they should do it quickly so that they can bring somebody in. But if they're not going to bring anybody in that forward line,
it will be very, quote or unquote, foolish to allow him go without replacement.
Take away 6 points against Southampton this season. Do you know how many points we have left?
That's like 19 or something. Or 20
No,
points.
I think we have 20 points.
20.
Which is just 3 points above relegation or something.
But you know the good thing, we finally went past space. That's we've just been in behind.
Anyway, my final note is to give props to Amad Diallo. I think so far he's been our player of the season, right? It's been a long journey for him. At a point in time, I almost even gave up on him because there were too many injuries, there were too many loans, he was not getting play time. But at big clubs, I always say, when the moment comes, you have to seize it.
Yep.
That moment against Liverpool last season, he took it and he hasn't looked back since. And this season, one thing I cannot forgive Erik ten Hag for is after you saw him in preseason, there is no way, absolutely no way, that he should have been sitting on your bench for long stretches or for so many games.
And playing Mazraoui at 10.
And then playing Anthony or bringing Anthony off the bench over him. None of those things make sense. I'm glad he's taking his chance. I'm glad he's won himself a new contract because he had to play for that contract.
Yeah.
He really had to play for that. He's ended. And I don't want it to be the normal situation where a player gets a contract and then lays back.
Yeah.
The very first game after his contract extension, he scores the first Premier League hat-trick since Cristiano Ronaldo in 2022. Scored a Premier League hat-trick even before Rashford had scored a Premier League hat-trick. Yeah. Let's be fair. Our players haven't been scoring a lot of goals, so hat-tricks have been very, very rare. Aside Ronaldo, I can't even date back to who scored the last Premier League hat-trick. Probably Wayne Rooney. You have to go on. That's just how bad the decade has been. Yeah. But I hope he builds on from here, from strength to strength, because we are going to need him. Yeah. There are no goals in this team, so we are going to need him. Finally, somebody has 6 Premier League goals this season. It's hooray. We move forward. Hooray. Our top scorer has 6 Premier League. Hooray. That just sums it up.
All right.
But it's more points further away from the relegation zone. Yes. Hopefully we get more points as we become safe and then we concentrate on the cup competitions and we take it from there.
Latif, our situation looks very interesting. Like Kwame rightly said, we are further away from the relegation zone. So it's been long overdue. We have been trying to go past Tottenham Hotspur, who have been in a very, very bad form as well. They were in a bad form, but they were still ahead of us. Let's look at let's do a preview of the game against Brighton, a team that has worried us over the last couple of seasons at Old Trafford, especially. I mean, given the nature of our losses at Old Trafford and some of the teams that we've lost against, Brighton seem to be on the same level as Newcastle, as the same level as Bournemouth, and the way that they are playing. And looking at how we struggle, I don't know. What do you make of this game? How should we approach it?
I think if we approach it the same way we approached this game, we are definitely going to lose. There's no way we are going to win it. And looking, I think Kwame mentioned a very, very interesting point I would like to bring in play, that our players, it's like most of them even play academies. Like simple things that you expect footballers to understand, our players find it hard to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get it. You look at Diallo, you look at Hoyland, you look at Anthony. It's a whole mess. And when you look at this Brighton team, they just won 2-0 against Ipswich.
Ipswich, yeah.
Oh God.
And they'll come into this game with some kind of confidence.
Yeah.
They'll come with the same strategy teams use to press us high. And I beg Amorim, he shouldn't start Hoyland. He shouldn't start Hoyland. If you are going to start Zegzi, let him play as a striker. Don't go and put him at the number 10 position. That's what he did. And then the Old Trafford crowd booed Zegzi for him to lose his confidence. If you are going to play him, he's a striker. And we saw how, at least, even if he's not scoring goals, Zegzi knows how to hold the ball.
Yeah.
He knows how to go past a couple of players. So with the Brighton game, we need Zegzi out front. And our players need to keep the ball simple. Do the basics. Don't overcomplicate things. And another problem I have is Kobe Menu. Kobe Menu doesn't look mobile for me. I think I tweeted that we should cash in. I don't know, but I think we should cash in on Kobe Menu. I don't know what you guys are also thinking, but me, for what
Latif, the other problem is now if you go past Kobe Menu and Ugarte, the other two replacements are 32 and 33-year-old Ericsson and
I know, right?
It's so clear that the club has given a directive to let them go because they've not been playing. If you realize they've not been playing at all.
Yeah.
It's almost like as if we are sending them a message that it is time. But when we became very hard pressed today, we still had to call on Ericsson, who gave a delicious assist. He didn't have a choice. The desperate times calls for desperate measures. But you could tell the kind of quality that he has on the ball. The problem is his legs have gone.
Yes.
And he can't get about the pitch. Yeah. But that's the kind of the profile of midfielder that we need next to Ugarte.
Yeah.
Just that a younger version of him, more mobile version of him. We don't have that in the team. It's supposed to be Kobe Menu, but he himself is a developing player. See, what the issue I have with Kobe Menu, it's not an issue. I don't have a problem with him. I think he hasn't even fully matured yet. He hasn't even fully gone into his body yet.
So there's like too much pressure on him.
Yes. It's because your 60 million pound defensive midfielder is old and past it. Ericsson's heart can't go anymore. And what do we do? Now it's Toby Collier who has to come in their stead. It all comes back to the market. We have to address these positions in the market. But as to whether we can do it.
Latif, carry on and wind it up for us.
So I think Kobe Menu should also go back to the bench. I don't know if the injury, if it's the injury or if it's what Kwame just mentioned, but it all comes down to the recruitment we've done over a couple of years. Like it is really affecting us. It has really affected us, and it's really affecting us. Because how is it that we go into a game and we are starting a 32-year-old Casemiro, and then I don't know if it's a 33-year-old Ericsson or a 34, almost combined age of 60 something. In a Premier League game, no, I don't think any other team.
That's the point. In the Premier League game,
in the Premier League, 60s. Your midfield is in the 60s. Who can you chase? Which team can you chase? You see, when you look at this game, right? I don't know if you guys noticed, but when Joe Aribo went off,
and
Koela also came on, that's what helped us
Yes.
Neutralized.
We had legs.
Aguero was still on the pitch,
Exactly. Yes.
we would have found it difficult. We would have found it
Yeah.
very, very difficult. So I think, well, we still have to use the players we have. I think Amorim needs to make some changes. So I've mentioned Hoyland. I've mentioned Kobe Minu. Yeah, I think so far Diallo is coming back. So obviously he's going to play. We don't have any option. He's going to play. And then Amad moves back to his number 10 position. And then we pray to God. Inshallah.
We pray to God.
You don't know what to expect from Manchester United. You don't know. You just don't know.
Latif says we pray to God. I mean,
we pray to God, man.
Kwame, before I get to you, before we wrap up, I think we have about 4 minutes to go. See, they just keep dumping your spirit, this team. This is what happens. You go into games against Man City. You go into that game. We come out with a very good result, very good performance. Then we go against Spurs. Terrible performance. Then we are now fighting our way back. Then we go on a string of bad losses. In games that we expect to lose, we sort of turn up. And these things I'm saying, we've seen it before at Man United. Even under Eric Ten Hag. Games, you see, we're having a bad set of games. Then games that you expect that the coaches, then we turn up. This thing has to stop. The consistency has to build. We can't continue like this. I'm sure Amorim has seen. Before the goal came in the first half, Amorim was always at the touchline. He was up there sitting with his head down. You could see he was so frustrated and very disappointed. That is the level that we get to when we play games.
And I'm glad the owner was there too.
Oh, he was there. He witnessed everything himself. And that's how
if they are sitting on any pot of gold or anything holding on to the summer, they have to activate some things and then bring in players.
There is a thing about signing players even in the mid-season. It comes to refresh the squad. It brings some breath of a fresh air around the team, and it's something I feel we should do our very best to work around that. But Kwame, in a minute or two against Brighton, what do we do in a minute?
Historically, over the past 3-4 seasons, we struggle against them anyway. I don't expect us. It's sad to say, but I don't expect us to win. I really don't. I didn't mark this game down as a win. This one I marked down as a win because it's a relegation 6-pointer against Brighton.
Relegation Classico.
I tell you, so it was very crucial for me that we won this one because against Brighton, you don't know what to expect. But what this team has shown us in 2025, because I said to you that 2025 has to be our year. Although I don't expect us to win, I think this team will show up in games that we don't expect them to win, as they've done to us already against City and against Liverpool. So I know most United fans will be optimistic going into the Brighton game. It's a good thing. Weirdly enough, it's a good thing because maybe that's the game that they will rather turn up. Against an easy opposition next week, we'll probably lose that one. Who knows? You don't know what to expect from this United side. We just don't know what to expect.
You definitely don't know what to expect. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Thank you, Latif, for joining. Thank you, Kwame. I'm always here with Kwame. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. And to you for always watching. We thank you for being a part of this community, for always having our back. Your comments really encourage us. Thank you very much. We would always be here for you here on United Everything Football Podcast. We hope to bring more new guests. We will tell Latif to go and pull Scanty for us so that next time we'll be bringing
Bring your boys. Bring your boys.
Anytime.
Already our Gogo has been here, so now Latif is here. We'll go and pull Scanty and then we will have a great time here on the podcast. Thank you very much. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and share with your friends. Let's grow this community together. We'll see you after the game against Brighton here on United and Everything Football. Have a great time. Bye-bye.